Okay, so welcome to class number 254 of Faith and Calm. Um, Faith, Calm, and Sleep. Crown Heights, we just got back last night and we were unpacking, and so it's been a little bit trying to, get back into the groove and catch back up again with what's going on here. But I think we're going to have an interesting class here tonight. So what we're going to talk about is a little bit continued from Lag BaOmer, and then also about this period in time that we're at, the Sphira time and counting of the Omer, and then a little bit also of the Parsha of the week, and try and put that all together and come out with something that's meaningful and inspiring and gives us a little oomph and energy for the coming week. And one of the marking special pieces of this week and the parsha is Im Behukotai Telehu. Well, it's a follow parsha, Bahar and Behukosai. And it seems odd. What is it? One of the big section of the Torah portion is talking about the I don't know if there's any other way to say it. The curses that will fall on a person if they don't keep these mitzvahs. Talks about the blessings too. It doesn't only talk about that, but it does talk about people pay attention to the other part, 48 terrible things that will happen to people. And, a lot of, we don't sweep this under the rug. There are awful things and there are difficult, terrible things that happen to people. And it's not all life in this world, and serving Hashem and our mission as a Jew is not always helpful, easy. And so I wanted to talk about this because part of it is understanding what's going on here, and it gives us a little strength to deal with it and to be able to reframe it and do something different with it. So, so there's a story. There's a story, and probably people know this one about the second Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe. He always used to hear this parsha from his father, and he would used to lay it in shul. And one year, his father wasn't there for some reason, and somebody else read the Torah portion. And the Mittler Rebbe was so shocked by what he was hearing that he fainted, and it took him a while for him to recover. And people came to him afterwards and said, "What is with it? Every year you hear this. Your father leads it in shul, and this year all of a sudden you were so shocked by it that this was like you fainted from the fearfulness of the curses there." And he says, "When my father laid, I never heard the curses. I only heard the blessings." And that is an interesting insight. It means the following, that really, when terrible things happen, sometimes we're only seeing a part of the puzzle and part of the picture, and that underneath it, there's actually very positive things here. And it's actually a challenge for us and a wake-up call and an opportunity for us to rise to a deeper level, because when we're restrained, when we're stressed and at the human level, and we're called to discover our strengths. We really discover this when we go to war or we're challenged, or some other minor or major kind of thing happens. You see people sometimes rise to the occasion and really become something bigger than who they normally are. There's a related story to this, now to connect the dots together, with the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and his name was Rabbi Elazar. And one time his father told him to go get some blessings from some rabbis in the West, whatever the West means in Eretz Yisrael. So he went and went to get these blessings, but the Gemara relates the actual text of them, and they're terrible. They don't sound like blessings at all. They sound like terrible things. And his father told him, those are blessings, but they couldn't express them as blessings because, and that's when let's understand that there actually are hidden blessings inside the curses. And so they were. I mean, when you actually heard about these things, they all really, the truth of the matter was going to be that they were going to be blessings. But the outwardly, the superficial reading of them was all about terrible things that was going to happen to him. And the rabbis explained, the Rebbe explains too, that this is because normally when a person does something, it's measure for measure. The amount that you put into it, the amount of intention that you put into it, is the amount of blessings that you can get. And in a revealed way, if you want something that's a blessing that's beyond bounds and beyond belief, it can't come necessarily in a direct way because we are not a vessel. We haven't prepared ourselves enough for so much of a blessing. It's sort of like when a person is not ready for a certain class, the teacher gives him a riddle. He can't understand it. It's all confusing to him. It's a difficult thing. And maybe after a number of years, he'll be able to understand what's going on. So that is also the case with blessings. Sometimes we can't actually internalize them and receive them right away. Alter Rebbe actually connects this also with positive mitzvahs and negative mitzvahs. A positive mitzvah elicits a certain blessing from above, the amount of energy you put into the positive mitzvah. A negative mitzvah, there is no vessel for it, and therefore, when you accomplish a negative commandment, in other words, you don't do the negative thing, you actually can get an unlimited amount of blessings. So this is the concept and the idea of these unlimited blessings. And that is what we are talking about in this week's Parsha and about the Shimon Bar Yochai. He said, when he came out of the cave, there's a story with him and his father-in-law and how his father-in-law saw him and his skin was all cracked and dry. And there were all sorts of sores and broken, where the skin was broken. And his father-in-law saw it and started crying. And Rabbi Shimon was like, stop it. The tears are getting into my behind the skin and causing me tremendous pain. And Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair was very upset. And he said that it's terrible that I have to see you like this. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, you wouldn't, no, it's a blessing. I wouldn't have become who I was if I wasn't spent the 13 years that I did in that cave. And he was able to, and he really became one of the greatest Tanaim of all time because of those 13 years that he was able to spend in the cave. So he says, through this difficulties, this is how I actually became. And this is one of the big lessons in Judaism, is that we don't wish negative things on people, but the only way sometimes to actually get a some blessings is through the negative process, because God really likes it. He sees what we're able to do in this time of Gullus and the time of Sphira, the time when there was a lot of deaths of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, of Rabbi Akiva's students, and the perseverance and the trust and the faith that we have actually transforms things. The Rebbe once said to a person about this difference between faith and trust. He said, faith is we believe, okay, God is going to take care of things. And trust is, I don't even think there's a problem here. It's going to turn out, it is well. It is good to begin with. And that's what trust in God is about. And this period in time is about increasing our ability to have that trust in Hashem. So I was going to tell a few stories about this to sort of help illustrate it. So there's a story with the there's a story with the wife of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. She was once traveling in a car and with Rabbi Krinsky, and they were driving, I guess, I don't know exactly where they were going. They usually took a certain route in through New York. And one time there was a detour and they had to go a different route. And when they went on that different route, they happened to come across a house there, and there was a big police presence, and they were taking all this furniture out of the house. And the Rebbitzins asked the driver to stop.
There was a woman screaming on the street.
Because there was a woman screaming there, right? And I think she was a Russian speaker, and the Rebbitzin spoke Russian, and she asked what was the problem, and she says, they're evicting me for not being able to make my payments, and because obviously she was Jewish, and the Rebbitzin asked her, how much do you owe? It was something like $6,000. And so she took out a check and she wrote the check for that amount and gave it to the woman and says, here, give it to the sheriff, and you're not going to be evicted. The woman was blown away. I mean, just this random stranger doing this. And later on, somebody asked her, he said, why did you do that? And how did you know that that was what you're supposed to do? And she says, everything happens by divine plan. And the fact that this particular week, I had to go a different route and I saw this particular event, I realized it must be orchestrated from above. And therefore, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do in this situation. And that's part of the flexibility that we have to have, is to be able to realize, sometimes you're just called on to do something. When I was in Crown Heights and I went to the bonfire, some guy came up to me. I don't think he was a Lubavitcher at all. He didn't look like a trim beard. He had a white shirt. He was a young religious Jew. And he was saying, I'm stopping Hasidim. He didn't refer to as Chabadniks, Hasidim. And I'm asking them, what does Lag BaOmer mean to them? And I'd like to do a man in the street interview with you. And first reaction is, of course, I'm not a public speaker. I don't have anything prepared. And if you don't have anything prepared, things don't come out necessarily very well. But it's sort of discombobulated. But anyway, I remembered a line from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson once. He was in such a similar situation. And he says, I got asked the question and I just opened up my mouth and watched to see what words would come out of my mouth. So I thought, hey, I'll do the same thing. I'm tired. I mean, I just been driving and, for 5 hours. I got down there like 10 o'clock at night. I'll see what comes out of my mouth. So the first question he asked me was, what does Lag BaOmer mean to you personally? So, sometimes you get, by changing the question, you get more to what you want. So something about that, I didn't like the personal aspect of it. I know you should speak up from the heart and words should come personal. And I think he was right. He wanted a personal response. But I said, it's not a personal holiday for me necessarily. It's a holiday for all Jews. It expresses the unity and how that's why Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was all about, was the unity of all Jews. And so it's a holiday for every single Jew. As you see in Meron, you'll see religious Jews, non-religious Jews, Sephardi Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, Hasidic Jews, Litvish Jews, all Jews together celebrating. So it's not for one, it's all of us and together. And so another question that he asked me, and what do you think that we have to do to bring Mashiach? And I said, I think it's connected to the same thing. There are many Jews who don't even know about Lag BaOmer, who's not connected to it. They're in America. They hate Israel. They read the news and so forth. They're very disconnected from their Judaism. And the job of us is to bring another child back to God, one of his children, and to reintroduce him to his father and to reconnect him with the Jewish people. Anyway, that I think is sort of that's one thing that I learned from this trip was, this flexibility and this openness to something that's a surprise, that you really don't know what's going to be in the next moment. And even though things may look challenging, it may be difficult, it may be bad, it may look bad and so forth, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a good thing. I was reading through the book called Positivity Bias by Rabbi Kalmanson. And he brought up a similar story to that. There was a lady named, a teenage girl at the time. Her name was, I think, Sarah Itkin. And her father wanted her to change high schools. She was a high school girl. And go to this new high school, which was a new experimental school that was on a very high level. And she was furious. She didn't want to leave her friends. She liked her old school. And she got into an argument with her father about this. And her father was wise. And he said, listen, you don't like my answer. You think I'm pushing you. Write the Rebbe. See what he says. So she wrote the Rebbe. And she was pretty upset. So she used some pretty strong language. And she wrote into the letter, she says, Rebbe, I don't want to be a guinea pig for this new school. Testing me out to see, if the school can be what it is. So she got a letter answer back from the Rebbe, and it was the same letter. He just took the same letter, and then crossed out one word and wrote in a different word. He crossed out guinea pig and he wrote hechalutza, which means pioneer. And she said it taught her a lesson, I am not a guinea pig. I am a pioneer for a new model of what education can be. I'll jump for it. The teenagers, they want to try anything new or something revolutionary. And she went to the school, which is now called Beis Rivka. And then later in her life, she became the principal of the school. And I think she's still there. So it not only did that one word response from the Rebbe change her outlook on what was going on, but also changed her entire life. And I think that is what we need to be open to. And that's what I'm saying from the lessons from Lag BaOmer, the lessons from Sphira, the lessons from the curses and so forth. We may see them, but we think, and we frame them in a certain way, and we think of them as negative and bad, and it's true, and we have to live in this world, and we can't just say, oh, it's all nothing. I mean, you don't go to Shiva's house and saying, well, it really is good. It's just concealed good going on there. No. Life is about balancing it. There is a reveal. We want it to be revealed blessings for each one of us. We want it to be revealed good, revealed health, revealed accomplishment, revealed wealth, all that stuff we want to be for people. But also we have to understand that, that God sometimes is actually very much connected with us and very much helping us, and is coming in a concealed way. And that is what I think the lesson from Bechukat Sai is that actually these are all going to turn out to be tremendous blessings for the Jewish people. And okay, I think I spoke long enough. I'm going to hand over the microphone to my wife.
Thank you, Justin. That was very good. Thank you.
Something? Adasa, we can't hear you.
She's on her.
I said, thank you. I really enjoyed that. That was very positive. So look for the positive, even if it looks negative. Yeah, that was positive. Thank you.
Okay, good night. Good night, yes, or no. Okay, so hello everybody, and I think I'm going to be brief as well. It's our new style, but okay. So first, does anybody have anything they want to say before I begin? No. Okay.
I'm listening to every word.
Good. So so I'm going to start with the four things that I always start with. Number one, we're in a unique time, and we're in the unfolding of the redemption, something that our sages and everyone else have been waiting for thousands of years, and we're in it. And number two, our souls were handpicked. Your soul and my soul were handpicked to be in this time because we have a vital role to play. Each person has a vital role to play. And number three, we were given everything we need to navigate this time, every tool. We were given the Torah, which is our guidebook, and the mitzvahs, which are our power tools. And in addition to the Torah, we were given commentary by Lubavitch Rebbe, by great sages, explaining how this relates to me, what I'm supposed to do with this. And finally, by learning about redemption, we are actively speeding it up. That's what the Rebbe said. He said the quickest way to speed up the redemption is to learn about it. And that's what we're doing. So we just came back from Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer happens to be a special day for me. I don't know why. It's like my soul is tied to it. I've had some of the most incredible experiences of my life in Crown Heights on Lag BaOmer. And that's one reason we go every year. And so anyway, I'm just going to say some. The title of the class was Most Delicious Experience of All. So there's a lot of different delicious experiences, but I'll name a couple of them that I experienced this weekend. One is that Crown Heights is a very desirable place to be for Lag BaOmer, or for any of the holidays, any of the Jewish holidays. And you have to sort of like massage your way into Crown Heights because we do have nice people who host us at different times, but on Lag BaOmer, everybody wants to come to Crown Heights, and you literally have to make phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call to find a place to stay, and then friends call for you. They call people that you don't know. Finally, we were striking out wherever we called, and we really, 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 really wanted to go. So my friend made a phone call to me to a neighbor down the street, someone she knows. She knows somewhat. She doesn't know her completely well. And the neighbor said, "Yes, we can have them. We can have them." So I'm given the name of this woman, and I have to say that so 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 you don't know you don't if you've never been to the place, you have no idea what kind of place it's going to be. And there's such a variety of places in Crown Heights, such a variety. So, so I've stayed in absolutely gorgeous places, absolutely beautiful, exquisite. And one time when we couldn't find our place, and somebody found a place with a neighbor of theirs, it was a corner of a basement, and it really felt like a basement. It was literally a corner of a basement, and it was, maybe the air wasn't the best. And anyway, so I was thinking, oh golly, we tried and tried and tried, and I texted the woman, and indeed it is a basement. I knew it was, we were going to a basement. I was thinking, okay, dear God, listen, I'm not going to worry about it. This is what you found for me, and I'm just gonna. And I get cold so easily, or I have in the past maybe, and so I thought, you know what? Not going to worry about this one. Just going to ride on Hashem's, you know, on Hashem's coattails, whatever you want to say. And and uh, I just, this one's checked off. We found a place. That's it. Let's do the other homework. And when we got there, it was absolutely a beautiful basement, absolutely beautiful, and with every amenity that you could expect in a five-star hotel. And it was a very comforting, very delicious feeling to feel, you know what? I trusted Hashem, and Hashem came through for me. He knew what I need. I need a warm place. This place had its own, like you could put on the heater, you could put on the AC. It had a variable thing, and we were cozy as bugs in a rug, or whatever the proverbial expression is. Then it was such a rush getting down there, and um, and uh, and whatever the after Lag BaOmer was magnificent. It was just really, really fun. I was in a parade, and and the forecast was for a beautiful day, and I was in a parade on the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is it's so gorgeous. It is a work of art, and it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. And I decided, the forecast was for clear skies, right? And so I have a disposable raincoat. It's very tiny. I could have stuck it in my pocketbook, but I thought, nah. And so there I launched off into this parade. And sure enough, in the middle of the Brooklyn Bridge, it started raining. But it was fun. It was a light rain, and it was just fun experiencing what is and not worrying about anything. And anyway, it was a very, 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 very delicious experience. Um, okay, I'm going to get to the next experience that I found to be a delicious experience. There's something that I've been very worried about, and been very worried about it for a month or so, and a decision that I have to make, and 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 on Lag BaOmer, I decided before Lag BaOmer, there's a very wise woman who lives down there. She's my mashpia. I ask her questions when I'm in a tough spot, and I made an appointment for her to speak with her on Sunday morning. So the night before Sunday morning, Saturday night, Motzi Shabbos, I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep. And I remembered, oh yeah, I want to write a letter to the Rebbe about this big decision, and about talking to my mashpia, and hoping that she's going to be able to help me. And so I thought, okay, you're up, you can't sleep, get up and write the letter to the Rebbe. So I wrote a short letter to the Rebbe that I should be able that it should be a productive conversation with this woman, and it should help me. And after I wrote this letter, I could have gone back to sleep. I was going to go back to sleep, and I didn't have, usually when I write a letter to the Rebbe, I put it into a volume of the Rebbe's letters, but I didn't have such a volume with me, so it didn't bother me. I figured I'll put it in later at home or something like that. Before I went to bed, there was a book that just grabbed me, it just grabbed my attention. It was called it's put out by Gem, I think. It's called My Story, and it's people's encounters with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And for some reason, I don't know why, there was thousands of books in this basement, and I just was drawn to this book, and I pulled it down from the shelf, and I opened it up at random, and I sat down and I read the letter. It was a letter. I opened to a page in which the Rebbe, Lubavitcher Rebbe, had written a reply to somebody's question. So what? It's so interesting. Here I am. I'm a school teacher. I'm worried about something about school, and and uh, the Rebbe's writing to a school teacher, and he says, and he tells her, and also I have to tell you, I was upset with myself that I'm upset. Right after Lag BaOmer, I was upset with myself. What is wrong with you? This is Lag BaOmer, and you're worried and you're upset. So the Rebbe writes to this school teacher, since one is only human, it is not unusual to lapse occasionally into a mood of discouragement. But as has been explained in the Tanya and in other sources, such a relapse should only serve as a challenge to bring forth additional inner reserves and energy to overcome the tactics of the Yetzer Hara and to do even better. Anyway, he goes on and he tells his school teacher who's worried about her work that it's okay. I was feeling guilty about being discouraged, and the Rebbe said, number one, it's okay to have such feelings. Number two, the next paragraph he says you should speak to somebody about it. I was on my, a few hours later, I would be speaking to somebody about it. And the Rebbe says that itself, the speaking about it to someone else, helps you get it off your chest, and it brings good results, and it brings peace. It said when a person has an anxiety, he should relate it to others. For getting something off one's chest is in itself already a relief. Um, and he says at the same time, and the Rebbe explained that a bad mood is the machinations of the Yetzer Hara. You should never forget that. You should remember that he's trying to discourage you and flick you away from some productive activity. That's what a bad mood is. The Yetzer Hara is trying to make us unproductive, trying to make us do things that are counterproductive for our life. Like either go on the internet or do whatever you do when you're discouraged. That's the whole goal of discouragement. It doesn't come from you. It comes from the Yetzer Hara. And when you recognize it and you realize, he's trying to veer me off the track of being a productive Jew, then it's so much easier to get back on track. The Rebbe ends by, it's perfect it's absolutely perfect for me. The Rebbe ends by, I'm constantly, I do a lot during the day. I do a lot of different things. I take part in a lot of different things. And since before Pesach, I've been so sleep deprived. And also I got pretty skinny right before Pesach because I got the flu and I lost 5 pounds. And that's a lot for me. And I haven't been able to get it. I haven't gotten it back yet. And the Rebbe said, and by the way, you're a school teacher and you should know that it's a halacha. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to. I trust, therefore, that you are looking after yourself in matters of diet and rest, and that you're always in a state of cheerfulness and gladness. So it was like it was such a delicious experience. I didn't even open it, Russ, but the Rebbe made sure I got an answer right away, and I once heard an expression that being heard is almost indistinguishable from the bodily feeling of being loved. And it's just such a nice feeling. It's a delicious feeling to be heard. So anyway, the the thing I want to end with is something as a tiny thing about Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is, Lag BaOmer represents a lot of different things, but one of the things that Lag BaOmer is all about is that, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was an amazing neshama. He was a neshama unlike almost any neshama that came down to this earth. He was totally beyond what most sages ever were. He was a pure soul that came down to this earth for one purpose and went through a lot of trouble on earth, but came down to this earth in order to teach us Hasidus, in order to teach us the inner dimension of the Torah. Because by learning the inner dimension of the Torah, it does something to your neshama, and it enables you to endure whatever you have to endure and to bring the redemption. So Rabbi Shimon agreed to this. His neshama, his giant neshama, came down and experienced whatever it experienced, all for the sake of us. This is a little bit like what happens with Hashem. Hashem is everything. Hashem is not in the universe. The universe is in Hashem, and Hashem squeezed himself in like successive contractions to create a tangible reality, so that what was the purpose of all this? The purpose of all this is to give us, the human being, and more specifically the Jew, all human beings, but especially the Jews, to give us a platform so we could show our stuff. If we were in a world of unlimited godliness, first of all, there'd be nothing for us to do. And secondly, we wouldn't be able, who are we? We're puny things. What could we do? So Hashem creates a world in which we can make a difference. And the purpose is, the purpose of this is that, number one, a Jew wants nothing more. Inside all of us, there is one yearning, and that's to do something for Hashem. And the second thing is, every human being longs to make a difference. And so Hashem created this stage for us to make a difference, to bring the redemption and make a difference. So anyway, let's cherish the opportunity. Let's make a difference, and everybody should have a wonderful week. So okay, I'm good with that. I'm going to end, and I'll wish you all a good week.
Thank you, Dawn. That was very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.